And we are back. Welcome to the final video of this series. It is my prediction for the final of the African Cup of Nations. And as always, when we come to an end of a series, I have to give you a massive thank you for all the support that you have given over the last few weeks. It's been an incredible pair of tournaments. Obviously, we've covered the Asian Cup and the African Cup of Nations over these past 3 or 4 weeks. And it's been a brilliant experience for me watching football I'd never really watched before. I'd always sort of kept an eye on these tournaments, but never followed them properly until this time around. And 2 brilliant tournaments have taken place. Obviously, I am recording this prior to yesterday's matches, so I have no idea what happened in the Asian Cup final or the bronze medal match for the African Cup of Nations. But we are here today to, of course, talk about one last final game. So if you haven't done so already, please do consider dropping a like on this video if you have enjoyed this series. And, of course, subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. We're going to be doing all of the Champions League predictions coming up this week before moving back to Premier League predictions once again. And then basically all of the other English domestic tournaments over the course of the rest of this season. Champions League, Europa League, all leading up, of course, to the Euros in the summer. So plenty to digest on this channel in the coming weeks and months. So make sure you are subscribed to the channel. And without any further ado, let's get into one last final game in the African Cup of Nations. And it is, of course, Nigeria taking on the host nation, Ivory Coast. Now, yesterday we spoke about how I didn't really expect either of the sides that got to the final of the Asian Cup to make it at the start of the tournament. As for this one, these are 2 sides I could have very easily seen been competing in the final of this tournament at the start of it. But after match day 1, absolutely not. And even after match day 2 for the Ivory Coast, it's been a crazy tournament for them, qualifying as the 4th, or should I say the worst, 3rd place team. So quite literally in the entire tournament, I think that means there were only 6 other teams that performed worse than Ivory Coast. And they've got to the final. And they're playing against a Nigeria side that started poorly, but have just got better and better and better. And the question really is, are Nigeria just too good for the Ivory Coast? Or is the Ivory Coast luck just going to go on and on and on? I would say, though, to be fair, Nigeria very lucky themselves to make it through to this final after what happened in that South African semi-final. The penalty, of course, did go against them to make it 2-0, then a penalty to South Africa. But that chance in the last minute, the free kick that was saved, I can't remember which South Africa player it was, but they skied it over the bar. That was it. The game was done with that shot, and Nigeria went on to win it on penalties. So they're going to feel a little bit rattled going into this one. Ivory Coast, of course, are going to have the support behind them. They're going to have the home nation crowd. As I say, I don't know what happened yesterday, if Qatar used their home nation support to get themselves over the line. But is the Ivory Coast crowd and is their luck going to see them over the line against Nigeria? Personally, I just don't see it. I think Nigeria are too good. I think defensively, they're too good. I just don't realistically see Ivory Coast scoring. I think this is going to go a very similar way to what the South Africa semi-final did with Nigeria and the previous quarter-final as well. I think Nigeria will probably get the go-ahead goal, probably midway around the second half, and they will look to hold on. And it's then just going to be a case of, are Ivory Coast going to get that bit of luck one last time to force extra time, or are Nigeria going to get the counter-attack goal and finish it off 2-0? I'm going to lean on favour to the latter, and I'm going to go for 2-0 to Nigeria. But, like I say, it's going to be a fascinating match. It's going to be an entertaining match, I'm sure. To be honest, I was sort of thinking about it the other day, because as a Manchester United fan, there's a few parallels, actually, between this Ivory Coast run to the AFCON final, to Manchester United's Champions League in 1999, finishing as the worst runners-up. People don't actually remember that, but Manchester United were the worst runners-up in that treble-winning Champions League run. Then tough fixtures all the way through, beating pre-tournament favourites along the way to then eventually get the dramatic late winner in the final. And it's a very similar path that Ivory Coast have taken, just a weird sort of parallel I've sort of noticed over the last couple of days. But for me, it's Nigeria. I hope sort of for the entertainment purpose of it that it is Ivory Coast. But like I say, I just think Nigeria are too good. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments section below. Let me know what's been your favourite moment of both of these respective tournaments over the last few weeks. Thank you very much for watching as always. I will catch you on Tuesday morning for the return of the Champions League.